COVID-19 pandemic has getting worse and worse, and it has a huge impact towards the world. Now, me and my team going to discuss what the COVID-19 has impact our global economy and Malaysian economy especially. Stay tuned.
Economy focuses on the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. It studies how individuals, businesses, government, and nations make a choice on allocating resources to satisfy their wants and needs, trying to determine how this group should organize and coordinate effort to achieve the maximum output. Economy is an important sector for the country growth. In Malaysia, the economic sector plays a hard role in developing our country. Economic sector provide a job opportunities such as a service, factory, business, and also tourism. In 2018, top 5 countries the global economy recorded with United States, followed by Hong Kong, Singapore, Netherlands, and Switzerland. Meanwhile, Malaysia climbed 2 steps to the 22 IMD ranking published by the Institute of Management (IMD). However, the speed of this virus giving a hard impact toward the global economy. As we all know, the Malaysia economy had slowed even before the COVID-19 outbreak due to lower palm oil, crude oil, and natural gas output and fall in export amid the U.S. trade war. The pandemic is making it worse as it sounds. The World Bank has lowered Malaysia GDP growth in 2020 to 0.1%. This is likely to cause further economic crisis such as finance crisis of 2008. The domestic economy is expected to experience negative growth and gross domestic product. The COVID-19 outbreak had led to growing concern over high debt level in many economies, including Malaysia's. Shutdown on economic activity and weak external demand for goods and services will clearly harm corporate profitability. If companies are unable to service their debt, bankrupt could be on the rise.
Hello everyone, my name is Teo Yufan. Now I'm going to talk about how COVID-19 has impact on tourism economy. The outbreak of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 has hit the Malaysian tourism sector hard with an expected loss of 3.37 billion ringgit within the first 2 months of the year, said Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. As a result, Muhyiddin says Malaysia's gross domestic product GDP growth for the year is expected to shrink as much as 0.8 to 1.2 points, with a total potential loss up to 17.3 billion ringgit. This sector is experiencing a rapid and sharp drop in demand and a surge in job losses at global level. To slow the spread of the virus, countries place restrictions on travel, meaning that they cannot purchase flights for holidays or business trips. Furthermore, potential long-term changes in behaviors of consumers become more cautious about traveling overseas in the future. Due to COVID-19, the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture cancelled the Visit Malaysia campaign 2020. Guests stay as tourist accommodation premises throughout the movement control order is expected to decline significantly. Marine-based tourism such as ferry services, recreational boating, snorkeling, diving, as well as cruises has been impacted during this global pandemic. However, the Malaysian government has imposed a compulsory quarantine period of 14 days for all Malaysians coming into the country since the 3rd of April 2020. This has been done so that any coronavirus which enter Malaysia stay quarantined and prevent further spread from inbound cases. There was a need for properly equipped quarantine centers, which were better than putting people in home quarantine. So the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture approached the Malaysian Association of Hotels for sourcing all the hotels in the country's entry points. A total of 10,000 rooms were committed to the Malaysian government at 150 ringgit per room per night, which include 3 meals for the quarantine guests. By the end of last week, this list had grown up to 23,000 rooms and more than 12,000 Malaysians were quarantined. The revenue earned from hotels from this initiative may not be sustainable in the long run, but at least it is still better than getting no revenue at all. Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Sendi Anak Sengli, 69430. One of the major impacts of this pandemic towards our country is the issue of unemployment. Unemployment rates went high in most countries around the globe and were affected very drastic. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) said that the rate of Malaysia's unemployment will be estimated increase to 4% this year due to the pandemic that were infected all the countries in this world. In comparison to the same period last year, March 2020 accounted for 610,500 unemployed Malaysians, while March 2019 recorded 521,300, a whopping of 70% increase. The job demand and vacancy status for the first quarter gave an early sign of an imbalance in the labor market. However, it must be noted that government has implemented measures to balance the job needs, including for new graduates, which number between 300,000 and 350,000 annually. These unemployment were extremely hit to employers and self-employed individuals, which made up to 2.81 million out of the 15.84 million strong labor force in Malaysia. This group consisted of freelancers, traders, and who work in industries such as farmer markets, night markets, and caterings. Department of Statistics Malaysia (DOSM) said that this group of workers were exposed to the risk of unemployment and work losses that affect their income during MCO due to not being able to sell the goods. As companies start cutting staff to make up for lost revenue, the worry is that this will create a downward economic spiral when these newly unemployed workers can no longer afford to purchase unaffected goods and services. With the expected recovery in economic activities in the second half of this year, the labor market should gradually improve with rehiring and job creation in some sectors. Most vulnerable groups are tourism-related and export-oriented manufacturing, and these industries account for 45% of local employment. Once the MCO is lifted, we will see improvement in employment to rehiring and varying level across different economic sectors. Thank you.
Hello viewers, my name is Debbie Anak Walter Chagek. As we can see on the news, the department stores, supermarkets and other retail outlets were also affected by this horrifying pandemic. Malaysian retail industry is expected to suffer a decline in sales by 5.5% from 4.6% growth projection in December 2019 due to Covid-19 pandemic. Retail Group Malaysia Managing Director Tan Hai Hin said the negative growth rate of 5.5% for entire year is calculated in comparison with retail sales performance in 2019. Negative growth rate of 5.5% is not a small number. In fact, the Malaysia retail industry has never experienced a negative annual growth rate since 1999, said Tan. Meanwhile, the business of grocery retailers rose 20.9% during the first week of MCO, when Malaysians rushed to stock up foods and their basic needs. The increase was 9.5% in the second week of MCO. But what about department stores or the retail outlets in Malaysia? For the record, some of them went bankrupt. Vishnu Varatan, the head economic and strategy of Mizuho Bank, said to the Malaysian Insight regarding this issue. What's more worrying is that we think the impact could be more prolonged in many years to come. This pandemic reduced 1 to 2% in Malaysian growth, economic growth, because of bankruptcies and small or big businesses and other factors alone. In his interview on April 25th, our Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said to the Star News that our economy is losing 2.4 billion ringgit every single day, when most of the businesses are suspended during the MCO period, which cost us approximately around 112.8 billion ringgit within 47 days. The question goes around: what will happen to our economy in long term? Second, when will this pandemic will be over and stop terrorizing the world? And third, how our country recover our economy? Tan said, assuming the domestic economy will recover for the second half of this year.
My name is Timothy Suring Anak Joseph Long. Now, I'm going to talk about COVID-19 outbreak towards education in our country. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected educational system worldwide. This leading to total closure of school, colleges, and university. The Ministry of Education has advised all education activities and programs involving public gathering are be postponed following to the COVID-19 outbreak. Senior Minister of Education Dr. Razim Majidin had announced PTHDRI and UPSR were cancelled for this year. Meanwhile, the ministry would ensure the standard operation procedure (SOP) would adhere to fully when the school session resumed to only SPM and STPM students who would be sitting for their national examination this year. Although almost all academic operational aspects of higher education institutions were affected by the MCO, early preparedness and mitigation plans have softened the impact and ensure a smooth transition to e-learning. Private school, colleges, and university no longer engage students face-to-face and have switched to online learning to arrest the spread of COVID-19. Among the tools that were used by the educator were Google Classroom, Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Moodle, and Open Learning Platform. However, with closure of school bus operator fear that they will go out of business. School bus operator under the Federation serve 1.5 million children from kindergarten to secondary school level. They say if there's no school, we won't have income and we can't pay salary and our loans. Our company may cease to exist. We are just sharing the reality of the situation, bus operators say. Other transport providers such as taxi and e-hailing services could remain in operation, even with restriction of the movement control order. But this was not the case for them. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.